Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kenya, among many of the African countries, has been rated as one of the most political-oriented countries in the continent. And this has come as no surprise because, as we have seen in recent events, whenever there is a political activity or event in Kenya, there's always a lot of heat that is generated. Today, we are privileged to have with us our teacher and also a presidential aspirant in the last concluded general election, and this is none other than our brother Abduba Dida. Welcome to the show.
Shukran.
Brother Abduba Dida, tonight we'd like to know the status of Kenyan Muslims in politics. Where are we as a community?
Khair, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As a community, the Muslims are the most fortunate and fortunate. They are the most fortunate in the sense that there is no tribe. When we use Islam as a tribe that has more than 10 counties in this country. People talk of the Kenyans or the Kikuyu having a large number, and if you look at the geographical location of these communities, the Kenyans has purely 8 counties. The Kikuyu has 6. But the Muslims have more than 10. They are fortunate. They are fortunate also in the sense that every Friday they gather. Seemingly there should be no racism in Islam. If you are a Luo and you accept Islam, then it is where your faith will put you, but you are equal. So with all these factors, they will have been a force to reckon with. Unfortunate, they claim, ever since I heard of Islam and their population in this country, I'm told they are 30%. I don't know why. The last census depicted that Muslims are 11%, according to what the government has released. So could be the government cheating on that, for whichever reason, I don't know. And if we go by what the government says, 5 million plus some hundreds of thousands, if you deduct the elderly and you deduct the young, elderly in the sense that they are bedridden and and the young, they have not attained the age of 18, we could have 3 million if you go by that. If the 3 million were united, then it is actually a good number. And if you go by what Muslims claim, we are 30%, then 10 million is not a joke. 30% of now 45 million is more than even the 10 million. So if we have those who are young, who have not gotten their ID cards, we can go by 5 or 6 million who have ID card and their voters card. So they will have been a community that is respected.
Well, allow me to stretch this line of thinking that you have quickly brought in, that the population of the Muslim community, by the government figures, you're talking about 11%. By the Muslim themselves figures, you're talking about 30%. Whichever figure that you may want to pick, why is this not reflected in the politics of the country? Why are we not seeing Muslim representation at the level of 11% or at the level of 30%?
One, for their numbers to be reflected and for their numbers to be felt, whether 11 or 30% censor, that's not a big deal. What matters is casted votes. How many votes have you casted as a Muslim? When it comes to the results from their counties, an MP is elected by 3,000 votes. 3,000. The leader of majority was elected by 10,000. You see, so if I'm not wrong, I think it was something like that number in Garissa. So they don't go to get the voters card. And in fact, one of the research we are doing is why. There are people who actually, they are Muslims who cheat the other Muslims that voters card is haram. And they use verses like فَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ. You know, if you judge and MPs and senators are lawmakers, if you make laws that are not the one that revealed by God, you're a kafir. So most of them don't go, a good number, don't go get the voters card. Those who get the voters card are lazy. Yeah? This is not your shop. You come and they see the line, the queue is long. Other communities will go for a pack of gideri and they just stick to the line and they wait for hours and hours and hours because they know what is in leadership. And these ones will ask themselves, you know, somebody will discourage others. What do we get? What do we get by voting? Yeah? And they are the first to complain that haki yetu tumekatazwa, haki yetu tunanyanyaswa. Yeah? So they don't vote. And then the few who vote, these votes are manipulated. Yeah? Nowadays, you vote here and the result is first reflected. It hits France. So anybody can send it back. Yeah? If the number was 200, 20 can be sent back. So if we go by cheating is there, then you know something could have been happening negatively.
But still, I'd like to stretch the point further and say, well, let us assume even that the population of Muslims in the country is 1%. And despite all the challenges that you have mentioned, you will realize that in a country like South Africa, we have an Asian Muslim minority that has a lot of clout in that country. Yet they are a very small minority, smaller than the number of Muslims we have in Kenya. What is it that they are doing right and we as Muslims in Kenya are not doing?
Yeah, South Africa, Sri Lanka, you know, some parts of Europe today. 5 things. If you lack 5 things, then you will not go far. 1 is unity. Unity. 2 is knowledge. Yeah? You may think that importing shoes is important, and somebody thinks that the vote is important because he will control your importing. Yeah? So when you are busy buying and selling clothes, he's very busy thinking of how to manage the leadership so that he can control your shoes. You may think that he's stupid, but you lack knowledge. So both knowledge of leadership and governance, science, you know, knowledge is important. The other thing is strong, halal, economic base. If you are poor, then you are useless. You could be many, but if you are poor, poverty is actually closer to disbelieving in the God who created you. Then the strong base. You know, we are Muslims scattered all over the country. Do we have a base in terms of leadership that is respected? Yeah, wherever you are, if Horizon TV says this, you take it. And then is there a plan? Communities plan for 100 years to come. The Asian community that you mentioned in South Africa will plan for 100 years to come. Somebody may actually, you may think this person is stupid, but it is a strategy. It's a strategy, and what they are targeting will actually seem them to be submissive. I want to achieve jumping this wall. So if there are many obstacles in between, I have to be okay with it until I actually jump the wall. So South Africans, Sri Lanka Muslims are 3%, and they are respected. South Africa, they are less than what we have in Kenya. But there is no unity. In Kenya, the Somali, Swahili, India, the Indian is saying, the Somali may push me. The Swahili may say, take care of this Somali. The Somali themselves are fighting in 101 pieces. So there is no unity.
Most of our viewers at home are asking this question. Why is it that we've become like the rest of Kenyans? We're obsessed with politics. There's always the thought that we could sit somewhere, do our businesses, educate our children, and prosper in life. Why do we have to engage in politics? Maybe you could shed some light. Why do we need to engage in politics?
Politics control education. It controls business. It controls sitting in your house. Leadership will determine everything that people do in this country. So if you sit aside and you are not represented, you know how laws are made in this country? Somebody will rise up in parliament, move a motion, another one seconds, and it is debated. And the speaker will ask for the participants to vote. So if somebody goes there with commercial sex is income generating. If we give a license to a prostitute, then she will pay $3,000. Imagine we have 2 million prostitutes by 3,000. This is 3 billion. We have, he comes with that. So if you are not there, then these things will move and they will be passed and they will come to your doorsteps. So there is no way you can keep off. I don't call it politics, but I call it leadership. It is leadership and governance.
Well, as a community, do you think we could truly rally under the banner of Islam to get to our political objectives?
Salim, the whole world has tried different ideologies. They tried color, the whites and the blacks, they rallied behind color, but it could not help them. They went into economic ideas like capitalism, capitalist and socialist and communist and all this. It could. The whole world has now come to the idea of religion. Whether you are a black, whether it is called the theory, it is called the clash of civilization theory. There is the black and the white and whatever, they say we are Catholics. They go under that banner. There are those who say we are Shia. They go under that banner. So what is selling today is ideas that can hold people together. And what is making sense in the world is religion. And unfortunate, we have the religion. We have the religion. Once upon a time, the president of a country asked people, which is the best religion? And they will say, Catholic. And then he will ask, which is the second? They will say, Islam. Then he will ask another one, which is the best religion? Say, Protestant. And the second, Islam. So all those he asked placed Islam
Second.
The second. Then he called Muslims and he asked, which is the best religion? And they said, Islam. And he asked the second, they said, Islam. And there is no any other religion.
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4 is Islam. So, Islam is a tested system, practiced above the skies, and seemingly to be practiced on earth, that theoretically and practically is number one. But it will be determined by the drivers. If the drivers of Islam are brokers, then it will be like that.
Well,
if they are thugs, it will be like that.
Well, hold that thought, because we shall be taking a break, and when we come back, we'll want to hear more if the community are able to mobilize themselves under the banner of Islam so that they're able to achieve their political objectives. Remember, you're watching Tough Talk, and tonight we are hosting Abduba Dida, our former presidential aspirant and also a leader in the Muslim community.